Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Friday. Yeah, we made it through. What a week. Wow. Got big price movements. Obviously, been a tough week, tough month for equities. Gold and silver had profit taking. Crude oil's been on fire. Interest rates continuing to head higher. We got inflation data that came out today. Don't worry. The Fed's favorite number, the PCE deflator, only twice as bad as they want it to be. 3.9%. The year-over-year number. Unfortunately, the month-over-month number grew substantially. Obviously, energy prices having a lot to do with that as well. And the government shutdown. We'll see what happens. We have no deal. If there's not something done this weekend, the government will be shut down on Monday, which will mean for us, all the economic data reports that come out of the government, we won't get those. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, that will stay open. Obviously, the military will still go to work. I don't know about the IRS. I'm not sure who gets to stay there. We'll see what happens, but, again, we got clowns. We've got a bunch of clowns up there. I say let's just throw them all out and start over. Don't you wish sometimes we could just do that? Hey, can we just start over? I know that we've been working on this thing for a while now. Let's just start over. Let's burn it down and start it all over again. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Of course, you know what we do, the physical delivery of wealth insurance. Maybe, you know what's funny? Because I know, you're right, gold's 1860, 1855. You're like, what's going on? I mean, it can't go up all the time. And obviously, on a paper standpoint, when you have interest rates go up like they've done, I mean, think about what interest rates have done in this month alone, right? Up like what? Almost a half a basis point. I mean, that's a lot. Half of a point. That's a lot. But that on paper, it's supposed to be when you have normal economic times. And I know Wall Street and all, they want to pretend that this is normal. And they try to convince you, oh, it's the new normal. Right? New normal. But how it's supposed to work, right? When you have rates rising in America, that's supposed to signify a strong dollar. And you have the computers that, hey, that's how we trade it, right? And that's why I'm telling you, don't let today go by without buying. But I hope all of you have bought something this week. And that would be a great opportunity. Listen, catching the bottoms or catching the tops, that's just luck, right? If you did, hey, you got lucky. But buying it when you know, hey, this was kind of a artificially driven lower. Let me give you a great example. Costco. Costco. We all know Costco. They're that giant retailer. They sold 1 ounce gold bars. Now, they didn't sell it in the store. I wish they had. I mean, I would say this. Costco would break the gold market if they sold gold in their store. They don't, but they would break it. But they sold these 1 ounce gold bars only online. And as far as I know, now, my wife and I, we're Costco members. I think it's me being a Costco member. That doesn't mean anything. I push the cart. That's my job when it comes to any shopping at all. I had no idea what they were doing. I didn't even know, did people go to Costco online? Obviously, they must. As soon as they put them up, Jason, they were gone like in less than an hour. This was like Taylor Swift tickets going on sale. People just bought them like crazy. I mean, it tells you how many more people now understand, you know what, I better get myself some wealth protection and doing it by any means possible. And I get a lot of people, hey, Costco, they've got a great reputation. Right? Okay, well, if Costco's doing, I'm doing that. Listen, there's plenty of things Costco does that aren't the cheapest. But and again, no offense to you gold bar buyers. No, I can sell you gold bars, and I can sell it to you relatively inexpensively. But I think they're terrible because they never tell you the other side of it. Well, what happens when I want to sell it back? Wait till you see bids on gold. All the gold shops and everything. It's like a competition of who can bid less for it. And then, of course, if you sell back more than $10,000, if you sell 6 ounces of gold bars, that's a $10.99. Who the heck wants that? Stay away from them. That's just my opinion. 800-951-0592. allamericangold.com is the website. But it was interesting, wasn't it, Jason? I mean, heck, it was all over the internet yesterday. I want to say it was on CNBC. It was on Drudge, Zero Hedge, Yahoo. I mean, everybody carried that story.
Everybody's talking about Costco selling gold, as if this is going to be some future realistic situation. There's reasons. I told Joe, I remember a couple of years ago when Walmart online tried selling silver eagles. It only lasted for like a month. Maybe not even that. I don't even know how long it lasted, but it's just not sustainable. And plus, I don't think Walmart and Costco like the idea of buying and selling and then losing money, because if the markets turn on them and then on these real thin margins, it's just not something you're going to see at Costco. Just the fact that it was tried is the news story, Joe.
That's it. And how well it went. I mean, they were snapped up in minutes. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be right back after the break. A quick look here at the market. It's interesting today. I'm a little nervous isn't the right word, but the Dow was up pretty strong early this morning. Gold and silver were up. Silver was up really big. At one point, silver was up almost $1 an ounce this morning. But the Dow has come back here. It looks like it's getting ready to go negative. Right now, the Dow's up 15 points. The S&P is up 15 as well. The Nasdaq's up 100. Gold's down 4. Silver's up 5 cents. The 10-year note down to 4.54. So some profit taking there. Obviously, crude oil. That was another one. Crude oil. What a day it's had today. At one point was $93 and change. Right now it's down $1. $90.62. And I'm just telling you right now, you better be careful in these markets. I think that, let's just take the next 15 months. Because I think that the rest of this year, all of next year, and whoever ends up getting the nominee to be the next president of the United States, this is a minefield of epic proportions. I'll say this: we are, through no doing of our own, and no, it's not. I'd love to blame Joe Biden. There's plenty to blame Joe Biden about, but this isn't one of them. This boom and bust cycle that was created by our central bankers when they decided, hey, you know what, we're going to ignore economics. And we are going to start operating in the best interest of ourselves. We're going to operate in the best interest of the banks, and the heck with economics. To heck, you know what? Sorry, Americans. You're going to have to deal with it. And we're going to tell you that if we don't do it this way, well, it'll just be horrible for all of you. Well, every time it busts, isn't it horrible? Right? Isn't it horrible? How great was the last bust? Did you enjoy that? Was that great for you guys? I mean, it's absolute nonsense that they paint themselves as the savior, but never the creator of the problems. They are the creators of the problems. And here's the reality. And I wish it was different, but it's not. In this boom-bust cycle that they've created, every bust is worse than the previous one. That's just how it works, right? The 87 bust was bad. The dot-com bust was worse, right? The financial crisis, that was even worse than that, right? And now we're getting ready for this next one, and the fantasy that somehow the laws of economics had changed because the bankers decided that it was in the best interest of the banks to change them. It doesn't work that way, does it, Jason?
No, it doesn't. And people should always be reminded that the Fed is a private company. These are private bankers, and private companies own the interests of the Federal Reserve, and so they're self-concerned. This isn't about running the country better. This is about profit. This is about enriching those that make up the Federal Reserve. And so you got to look at the priorities, right, Joe? What are the priorities of the Fed? The priority of the Fed is the Fed. Their system is this is why I keep talking about how they're going to keeping the rates higher, or at least keeping them stable, or even going higher. Because if inflation goes out of control, the Fed then doesn't really appear to be necessary anymore. Because if the Fed can't control through since they have the power of the interest rates levels, if they can't control the inflation, then what's the use of the Fed? This is why I've said for a while that the rates got to stay pretty high until the inflation is at the levels that everybody is okay with, Joe.
And it's funny. Inflation's already gotten out of control.
Right.
It's already gotten out of control. What are you talking about? Right? Why do you think everybody and their mother is threatening to strike, or is on strike, or is going to go on strike?
Right.
Why do you think that is? Right? When we sit there and we talk about these things. I'll give you a great example. The Bears and the Broncos have a football game this week. I'm dubbing it the toilet bowl, right? Okay? Probably, I don't know that there's even probably the two worst teams in the NFL are going to play each other this weekend. One of them is going to win. And what
Maybe.
the Fed has been able to do, Jason's like, he doesn't even know what I'm going to say yet. What the Fed is able to do, because they control the media, the unlimited number of channels that parade the stock market, that idiot Jim Cramer. I don't even know why anyone would listen to that. The guy's a moron. No offense. He's entertaining. He's always entertaining. He literally has no idea what the hell he's talking about. I mean, they've actually created an ETF to do the exact opposite of what he tells people to do on TV. And people call in and he hits the sound effects and the booyahs and all this stuff, right? It's great. Great TV. But they're able to make it appear that, hey, forget about the fact that there's all these other teams out there. This is going to be what we want you to focus in on. Just these two. Now, both of these teams are really crappy. But if you don't consider the other 30 teams, well, it doesn't look so bad, does it? Right? And let's face it, one of these teams going to win that game. And, of course, the Federal Reserve will say, see, look at what we did. We won the game. Right? We won. Well, you won the toilet bowl game. But what about all the other games? They're not winning any of them. Look at today. Look, just today. Okay? They came out with their favorite inflation number, which doesn't even track inflation. It doesn't track inflation. It's not what it does. Now, again, they got the media to convince you that's what it does. But I love it, the PCE deflator. Right? I mean, at least I got to give them credit. They're brilliant. They actually put the word deflator right in there. Right? Hey, we're not even going to try to lie to you about it. Right? We're deliberately going to make this number look so much better and then we're going to tell you that's the number we care about. Forget about all the other games going on out there. That's the number. That's the game. The toilet bowl game, that's the number we like. That's the one we care about. Well, let's look at that number. 3.9%. By the way, I think that may be it. I actually think that number is going to be higher the next month. That's double what they say they want inflation to be. Yeah, Jason, remind me, because my memory, I'm getting a little older. What did they do at the last meeting? Did they fight inflation at the last meeting or not?
They paused.
Oh, they paused. Oh, I see. So it's okay. Right? I mean, don't worry that the number's double. And, of course, let's face it, it's a BS number. So what's the real number? What is it? Right? Is it 8? Is it 7? How many of you, what, I'll tell you this. I want all of you to do this because if you're like me, my wife runs our household. That's just how it works. And believe me, I want it this way. But whoever's running the household, if it's not you, go to the person that does and just ask them, have we had to renew our car insurance? Have we had to renew our home insurance, right? Or whether it's mortgage insurance, renter's insurance, maybe it's liability insurance on your business, whatever it may be. Have we had to renew our health insurance yet? Because all of these things happen. And then when they do, ask them, well, how much did it go up? Right? Well, it was $1,500. Now it's $2,500. It was $2,500. Now it's $4,000. Right? The car insurance. It used to be $350. Now it's $450. Right? I mean, these are things, and a lot of people aren't even aware. Holy, what? Well, man, we need car insurance. We need health insurance. We need mortgage insurance. Let's just say you're a business owner too. I need liability insurance. Just those 4 insurances. Just those 4 insurances. You're probably paying an extra two. Some of you may even be paying an extra $3,000 a year for these insurances and these are things that most people don't even think about. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I didn't get in a wreck. I didn't go to the doctor this year, right? I wasn't at the emergency room. I haven't made a liability insurance on my business and I don't know when, right? You're like, man, I didn't even use it. And it went up this much. And that's what people are starting to realize. But just today, restaurants came out and said traffic was down 3%. Sales were still up 1%, but traffic was down 3% month over month. That's big. If it goes down another 3%, we're going to have a problem, aren't we? Because now what? Well, now sales aren't up, right? Sales are now falling with the customers. Already, it's less customers made up by higher prices. What else came out today? The savings rate. Right, so how much money do we got left after all the inflation? Well, it just fell to the lowest level this year. So, Jason, just today, they said, well, you're the poorest you've been this year. Restaurant sales are falling. Nestle's CEO came out and said people are consuming less. And basically what Nestle said is, hey, people are buying less of our products at the supermarket, and it seems to be getting stronger. The UAW is getting ready to add a bunch more plants to its strike here in in a little less than not even an hour and a half, 2 hours from now, they're going to add more strikers, right? Las Vegas workers, they're getting ready to go onto the picket line. And the largest shale producer came out yesterday and said, listen, if the government doesn't change its policies right now, oil is going to be $150 a barrel, Jason. I mean, that's what we've learned in just the last 24 hours.
Correct. Yeah, and way back in the first segment, you had mentioned when the government shuts down. You know, I got my little conspiratorial mind going.
Yeah, the government, right?
Well, the government shut. You were talking about how the government. A lot of the numbers that you analyze on the shows, those are government numbers, so we won't be getting those. So let's just pretend that maybe for a couple of months. But let's say the government shuts down severely for a couple of months. It almost feels like that's something that the Fed would enjoy, because then any decision they make, they don't even have to make excuses about what numbers are not coming out. Wouldn't that be just great for them to have no numbers, Joe? Because then it was pause or raise rates or lower rates. It wouldn't matter because there wouldn't be any numbers to verify what they're doing is good or bad. Because I didn't know that there would be no government numbers for the economy if the government shut down. That's pretty interesting, Joe.
Yeah, so really quickly, the UAW has announced their next round of strikes. So they've already announced what it's going to be. I'll share those with you when we get back right after the break. (800) 951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. Just a crazy week here in the markets as we've had, I guess, some realization that the Fed absolutely has no idea what they're talking about. They're making it up. I'll be honest with you. They're just making it up as they go. I don't care who you are. The Fed is the equivalent of the Broncos-Bears game. I mean, this is what we're talking about. These completely, totally inept. There's a reason why Costco blew out of gold bars in a matter of minutes because people know what's really happening. I got a great opportunity to ignore everything. Call the 800 number. We had silver up almost $1 an ounce this morning, and now it's down 8 cents. U.S. Silver Eagles today and today only. They were $600 yesterday, in which we're already the cheapest out there. $5.95 today. $5.95. I will get the price online changed here in a minute. $5.95 on Silver Eagles. If you're a silver buyer, if you're thinking about buying silver, or I want to start with something, maybe you've never ordered jet before. You want to start with something just to see how it goes. I get it. 21-ounce U.S. Silver Eagles out of sealed cases. Never seen the light of day yet. $595 on the gold side. We ran $10 Liberties the other day, and I mean, there was such a big savings. But gold's gone down since then. I've got a bigger opportunity today there. On a half an ounce of gold, $10 Liberties. These are pre-33s, 1866 to 1907. Why do we like old gold better? It's simple. There's only one reason why we like it better. It's the most private way to own it. What does that mean? Well, you can buy it, sell it, trade it, and you don't have to give out your Social Security number. I don't have to see your ID. I don't have to fill out a form. You don't get 1099. Right? You're on your honor. And that's kind of the way we like it. I think most of our listeners want to be as private as possible as well. 1 through 9 at 1,060. Jason, 10 or more at $1,050 today. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. 800-951-0592. Take the time. Add to your portfolios. I can't imagine what a government shutdown. I hope it doesn't happen. We'll find out on Monday. But the UAW today, Jason, they've already announced starting at noon Eastern. So what is that? Half hour from now? a half an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I don't know. We're on Arizona time, so I always get confused. They've said that starting Friday morning, well, I guess Friday afternoon, that the strikes against 2. So remember last week they increased, we have 18,000 workers on strike right now. But last week when they raised it, they hit GM and Stellantis, right? GM and Jeep. This week, they said it's General Motors again and Ford. So Ford, last week they said, well, we're not going to strike an additional Ford plants. We're making some progress. Well, apparently the progress stopped. But this week they said Ford and General Motors are going to be hit with more strikes. Well, Chrysler, Stellantis, they've made some progress, and we won't strike at more of their plants. But the long story short, Jason, 7,000 more workers heading to the picket lines from Ford and General Motors. Ford Chicago assembly plants and General Motors Lansing Delta Township are now going to join the picket lines. That'll bring the number to 25,000 UAW workers are now going to be out on strike.
I remember, 3 or 4 years ago, we did a few shows with these little Chinese cars they make. I think back then they were only $5,000 brand new to buy these little Chinese cars. Does this just seem like we're going to be buying Chinese cars pretty soon? Because this isn't going to, at some point, this isn't going to work. You can't buy $40,000 cars. But China, like I said, I can't remember. I was actually seriously looking. I was like, I wonder how much it costs to ship one of those over here. The only problem is if it breaks down, where are you going to get parts? But they had these little $5,000 and $6,000, $7,000 cars. Really, when it comes down to it, it's just transportation, right? I know some people want to ride in style. You have to pay for that, but that doesn't that it just seem like economically, Joe, the car companies in this country are just in complete destruction mode. Because let's just say the auto workers need this pay. Let's pay them. Well, if nobody buys the cars, the layoffs are going to happen anyways. This is a layoff machine getting ready to happen, isn't it, Joe? I mean, how are you going to pay these huge salaries if no one buys the cars, Joe?
Well, and again, I think this is kind of the whole problem, isn't it? And again, it wasn't that bad when the cars prices started escalating. When you could get a car loan for 0%, 3%, 5%. Can't do that anymore. Right? Now all of a sudden, a used car loan, you even with really good credit, you're approaching 10%. Right? Background, I don't even know what background's got to be terrible. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Mack truck. The big 18-wheeler trucks. They have authorized a strike. 3,500 workers in six facilities in 3 states. This is the strike will also cause Volvo Trucks of North America to halt its production because it shares an engine transmission plant with Mack. So apparently, I don't know, the semi-trucks, they're going to go on strike now, Jason. Apparently that strike is going to start on October 14th. So here you go. Here's another one.
And I think we're going to, I said it I think yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, I think we'll see more of these strikes even next year. I think this is, people are saying, look at all these strikes, look at all the strikes. When you get into a really bad situation, usually when you look back at it, you don't really remember the very beginning of it. You remember when it's at its worst. Why do I get the feeling that we're not going to remember the 2023 strikes, that turned into the 2024 strike? Why do I get the feeling all these companies are just going to be in such peril with strikes later this year and into next year? Because this is talk about a virus. This is going to go viral. All these unions are going to want to strike. This is the way we're going to get money. Yep. There's plenty of companies that haven't started striking yet.
Yeah, right. Apparently, yeah, because it's almost what I do now on a weekly basis. 2 or 3 more unions announce, hey, we're getting ready to walk out. Hey, before you walk out for the day, Get those rolls of silver, $5.95, and those $10 liberties, 1,060, 10 or more, 1,050. Jason and I, we'll be right back. $800-951-0592. Joe and Jason here on this Friday. In silver, there you go. Dow's down. Get ready. Silver Eagles, $5.95. If you're looking at it, man, I'd love it, but maybe that's a little much for you right now. You can buy a roll of dimes for $100. Rolls of quarters for $200. We've got 5-ounce gold bars that I think they're like, I don't know, $140, something like that, rounds. So check it out. Go to allamericangold.com, hit the shopping cart button, and you can see everything that we have there. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. By the way, the metals plan. So this was a delivery month for the metals plans. I know that we're done here with our metals plans. I think, Jason, you've been calling most of your metals plans people as well, right, to come to pick up. If you aren't in the metals program, it's a great program. You can get into gold and silver for as little as $100 a month. And I get it. For a lot of people, $100 is a lot. For a lot of people, $100 not so much. There is no maximum. We have people doing $5,000 a month and everything in between. You get 4 physical deliveries a year. It's a great program. You get everything on sale. That's the other great part about it. And how it works, you leave a credit card on file with us. You tell us what day of the month you'd like to charge the card. Anywhere from the 1st to the 28th, because we're not smart enough to deal with February, right? Right. So we just eliminated the last few days of the month. Too hard for us. The 1st through the 28th. You tell us the day. So some people, hey, they like it in the middle of the month because the beginning of the month they pay the mortgage or the rent. Other people's like it at the beginning. You get to decide, and then at the end of every quarter, we pool this money together, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's massive. I mean, it takes us all month to ship it. I mean, literally, Brittany works all month shipping. That's how many people are in this plan. And we buy at the best rates possible. And we pass that on to you. There are no fees. That's the other nice part. You know, if you don't pick up in one of our offices, there is a shipping fee. The most it will be is $35. But for those people, you know, if you're doing $100 a month and we're shipping you $300 worth of product, we're not charging you $35. We don't do that. We just want to cover the cost of the shipping. That's it. That's all we do. And we ship FedEx to wherever you told us to. You can change the plan at any time. We get it. This plan, when we set it up, we had the smaller people in mind when we set this metals program up. We get it. Hey, you know what? Maybe, man, I need 4 new tires on my car. And that's a $600, $800 expense that, hey, that's a lot for me. I need to put my plan on hold for a month or 3 months or whatever it may be. Just call us. It doesn't cost anything to set the plan up. It doesn't cost you anything to cancel the plans. And Jason, it really is a great way, because a lot of people, they're just not disciplined, right? They're not disciplined, and they're like, well, I just want to buy at the bottoms, or only buy when I'm nervous, or when, you know, and usually if you're nervous, prices are even higher. But this is a great way to just constantly be buying metals and taking advantage of the pricing a little bit at a time.
Yeah, people handle their finances differently. Some people are more, hands-on, and some people are more, hey, I just like my bills being pulled out of my checks every month. So for those people that, you don't mind having the automatic withdrawal, making it just easy and simple, you don't have to think about it. But you made the decision to go ahead and get metals. Because you're right, Joe. A lot of people, the grind of the everyday month-to-month bill paying can sometimes squeeze out that understanding that you need to save. So if you make the determination, I'm going to save money every month, and I want to do it outside the bank, well, this is great because you just have the automatic withdrawal, whatever it is, $100 a month is a minimum, but as high as you want to go, you can do $3,000 a month, and then once a quarter, you just have Joe's office or myself call you and come and pick it up. It's already paid for. The fastest meetings are the metals program meetings because there's no money that has to exchange. You just, here's your stuff and have a good day. And 4 times a year, Joe.
4 times a year, you get physical deliveries. It's a great program. If you want to learn more, go out to allamericangold.com and hit the metals program button. We got all the details there if you want to sign up. Now, that one, you can't sign up online, so you do need to call us if you'd like to sign up for the metals program at 800-951-0592. The Dow's now down almost 100 points here. We'll see, who knows how it ends up. The fact that the UAW strikes are getting bigger, we're waiting on, Vegas. Is Vegas going to be shut down? Because I want to say, in Vegas, it's like the bartenders and the maids. I mean, stuff like, you really don't want to go to Vegas without that stuff. They're getting ready to strike. And now add Mac to it. And the sad part about Mac and their strike is now Volvo says, well, if they go on strike, we got to halt production because we share facilities.
More strikes. Well, we'll see how the end result of this. We'll see how this affects because, Joe, this is just the front end of it. What happens on the back end of it is really.
They're talking about the UAW as an example. They're talking about that's going to increase the price of cars by $5,000. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's definitely going to increase the cost of cars, and not by a little bit. It's not like it's going to add $500. It's going to be thousands of dollars by the time it's done. Patriot Radio News Hour, wrapping up the week right after this. $800-951-0592. You need a little more motivation to buy today. How about this? Jay Powell. Remember, so he talked yesterday. And it's incredible what he was talking about. He said the Federal Reserve's ability to influence the economy depends on whether people understand what we're saying. See, if people just understand what we're saying, then somehow everything's just going to be wonderful. And this is the problem, Jason. It's not that the Fed screwed us all by ignoring economics and deciding to save themselves in the banks. No, that's not it at all. The problem is that are people going to actually understand what it is we're saying? Because if they would just understand what we were saying, magically things would be better.
Yeah. I'll say this. When I learned about gold and silver, Joe, I stopped listening to a lot of the traditional understandings of economics. Now, there's things you can do with paper assets and make money, and there's guys that can help you out with that if you have the right source. But once I understood that savings is gold and silver because we have a central bank and we have inflation. I mean, here's the thing: we talk about how bad inflation is. It was 2% was the goal for how many years, Joe? How many years? And here's the funny thing. That 2% goal that they had for so many years leading up to where we're at now, which is out of control, it's 5%. It's 5% because if you look at the money creation over the last 30 years leading up to this last inflationary cycle, you'll see that the money creation is 5% and the actual inflation is about 5%. It's always been about double that. Ever since 1980, they messed up how they calculate inflation. Money creation is averaged 5% a year, and the Fed's goal is 2%, 2.5%. Well, that's 5%.
Well,
so
you got to remember
what's it going to be now? What's it going to be now?
Yeah. You got to remember, right? How many years did they go? By the way, they created. So first things first, Where did 2% come from? How long has it been? Well, they created that during the financial crisis. Janet Yellen and Ben Bernanke, they just made it up. They just made it up. Hey, well, we're going to convince the American public that 2% inflation is perfect. Of course, well, after 20 years of 2% inflation, your money would be worth 40% less. Does that sound perfect? But to Jason's point, money creation's been about 5%. Remember, for 15 years, remember they go, we just can't get inflation high enough. Right? It was like 1% or 1.3%. Well, guess what, folks? You know what inflation's going to do? It's going to catch up now. It's going to catch up. So, start doing the math, right? At least 4% understated for 15 years. That's 60%. We got to come up with 60%, right? So far, we've come up with about 20% over the last 3 years to get, on their fake numbers, that is. But, Jason, we got a long way to go. And just so you know what Jay Powell was trying to say yesterday, I want to be clear on this. He was trying to tell Wall Street, rates aren't going lower. Stop saying it. Yep. Stop putting it into your projections. Get used to it. Rates are staying higher. We're not lowering. We're probably going to raise rates, but we are not lowering rates. That's what he was trying to tell you. So what does that tell you? That tells you need to call Patriot, 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming back with the half-empty cup right after this.